Think we're going to do some quick hitter videos after the previous longer one, okay? I don't know, we're shaking shit up every once in a while. Something's got to fucking catch on every once in a while, but we did a video on, I forget why we talked about Yellowstone. It was like 15 million people watched the finale, and it's apparently a fairly based show, no politics in it at all whatsoever, and lots of fucking people like it, so that's cool. And yeah, there's some unwieldy based takes going on from a Hollywood living legend. But first and foremost, there's more spin-offs when it comes to this show. Anyways, just giving you a little bit of padding on this video because I want it to be short. I just don't want it to be fucking microscopic in length. I ain't one of these woke Hollywood idiots that just pump out 95 fucking videos a day at 4 minutes apiece saying like, comment, and subscribe, and giving a shout out to my sponsors for half of the fucking video. Shut your mouth. Do some content. But apparently there is an origin series, like it says here. Yeah, the Yellowstone origin tale, 1883. Cool. The western set in the late 19th century. Probably a cool story to be told. I think that's when like Red Dead Redemption video game, really great game anyways, and I like westerns anyways, so that time period is ripe for the picking, but it's not going to be getting a second season, which is totally fine. If you have a story, okay, if the showrunner, Taylor Sheridan, if he has a story in mind and it just took one season to tell, and now he's going to be moving up to 1932, so obviously another generation or two runs through, and then you just tell another story about how things have changed, and then eventually you work your way up to bolster the story in the subsequent seasons of Yellowstone. That totally fucking makes sense, okay? You don't need to milk everything dry, okay? Not everything has to run in perpetuity like stupid Big Bang Theory or Two and a Half Men, like, 2 or 3 years, long after expiration date. Sometimes you have an encapsulated story. You know exactly the story that you want to tell, and you tell it within that confine, okay? You don't need to sacrifice storytelling for financial gain, okay? Not everybody has to be morally bankrupt. Paramount Plus's critically acclaimed Yellowstone prequel series 1883 came to a close on Sunday night, and while the streaming service has teased more of the show, creator Taylor Sheridan confirmed that there will not be a second season. There kind of will be, it'll just be named differently, I guess. The streaming service announced 2 weeks ago that it ordered more of 1883, though it didn't specify a second season. They also announced another prequel series in 1932, which Sheridan is focusing on now. The writer-producer revealed in a new interview with Deadline, and I would rather get AIDS than read a Deadline article. You know what's funny? Okay, like every report that this show, okay, Yellowstone or whatever, it's a little universe. Okay, it's cinematic universe, the Yellowstone cinematic universe. Ugh, sorry about that. Sorry for the cancer. There's no politics, there's no agenda, it's just a story being told, and it's just so apropos that the showrunner Taylor Sheridan looks like a love child between a 150-year-old oak tree and Ron Perlman, not like some little weaselly fuck like whoever's running, I don't know, the Marvel movies, I forget his name, or the Star Wars, okay, whatever ones, those little goofs. No, this dude, full head of hair, a face you could carve a roast on, is just a hard-looking dude with a suit that's about 2 sizes too small, but that's not because he bought it that way, it's just because he's too fucking swole for life. You'll love to see it. But anyways, on to the main event. Veteran actor Sam Elliott, the man with a fucking best voice, okay? I'm a little under the weather, so my voice is a little bit fucked up and a little bit gravelly, but Sam Elliott, he's the man, he's always been the man, and this just reinforces it. Who stars in Yellowstone's prequel, 1883. Well, starred. Apparently it's over, and it'd be really, really tough for him and his character, considering he's 77, so for them to advance, 50 years in the timeline, for him to continue in said role. Obviously, if they're going to be doing, like, flashbacks and shit, that might be able to play in, but who knows. Now, goes on a tirade over Jane Champion's Power of the Dog, which is another Western, I don't know, and I'm sure we're going to dive into this, but I'm sure it's probably one of these latchers-ons. It's like, ooh, there's the big fad that's going on right now, a resurrection of Westerns. Let's try to infect the concept with leftism. That always works all the time, right? It's apparently, what is this? Power of the Dog. Cool. Must also be a reference to the nuclear waste nominee for Biden's cabinet. What the fuck does this woman from New Zealand know about the American West? That is true. That is 1,000% true. But his criticism is steeped in homophobia. I almost forgot the term. Christ, it's been a minute. Everything's been about trans rights and shit. It's just good old-fashioned gay bashing's been off the menu for a minute. Popular Western actor Sam Elliott. Popular actor. You don't even need Western on that. That dude... He's been around forever, okay? Roadhouse wasn't a Western. Might have been better if it was a Western. It's still fucking top tier shit. Anyways, who stars in the Yellowstone prequel, 1883, went on a rant over New Zealand director Jane Champion's Power of the Dog because of its implications to homosexual cowboys in the West. Oh my god, I'm sure that's exactly what he was taken aback by, and I'm sure this isn't a mischaracterization of facts at all. Speaking with Mark Maron on the WTF podcast on Monday, how does he still, after all this time and after all of fucking lack of relevance, how does he still get big name guests on that fucking show? Congratulations. I guess it's just a testament to hanging on. On Monday, Elliott, 77, referred to Champion's Oscar-nominated film as a piece of shit and said he took personal offense to its portrayal of the American West. What the fuck does this woman from down there, New Zealand, know about the American West? Elliott, whose career is centered around the Western genre, said. I guess maybe his latter part of his career, but whatever. Okay, and even still, whatever. That's fine. Been hard work to come by prior to, what, like, really, Yellowstone. It was like The Unforgiven in 92, and then huge dearth of content. You had that one Liam Neeson Western. It's like, that's funny in and of itself, but you had that one pop up, and every once in a while you have little hitters. Like I said, Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Revolver, a couple of video games, Gun, and those were just little niche one-off topic or projects. It was just no such renaissance. But then all of a sudden, oh, this field is ripe for tilling once again. And if we have more Yellowstones and fewer, I don't know, theoretically, gay cowboy movies, I'm hoping that we get some new Gladiator movies. Even though Gladiator 2, here, if you want a little black pill for the day, Gladiator 2 is in the works as well. The sequel's in development. Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, Elliott went on to say, and why the fuck does she shoot this movie in New Zealand and call it Montana and say that's the way it was? That fucking rubbed me the wrong way, pal. No, fair enough. That's tough, okay? If you want sprawling landscapes a la Lord of the Rings, if you want high fantasy filming locations, you go to New Zealand. Okay, if you want rugged terrain, if you want, wooded forests, okay, if you want mountainous landscapes, you go to Montana. That's odd, okay? Especially, you could have just said that it was in, like, fucking Wyoming, okay? Colorado, something like that. Well, not quite Colorado, but, Wyoming, okay? The big boxy states in the middle. Nebraska Cowboys. Fucking plains that way. But you said Montana, you dope. Elliott said his main gripe stemmed from the implication that character Phil Burbank, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, that, again, that's like casting Liam Neeson as a cowboy. Not terribly convincing, okay? But that big old head would have had plenty of room for a huge mustache. A huge Sam Elliott-esque mustache. So it was a closeted gay man, and the movie over-critiqued the masculine image of the West. Okay. They're all running around in chaps and no shirts. Elliott said of the movie's characters, comparing them to Chippendales dancers. There's all these allusions to homosexuality throughout the fucking movie. Okay, so how is he being homophobic, or how is he hating on gay people from that statement? Seems like a fairly fair critique if you're trying to tell a Western story, but it's more about boxy Brits. You're a little bit off, dude, but whatever. I guess that's somebody who probably knows a thing or two about stables. She probably knows a thing or two about donkeys, but whatever. That is not a convincing cowboy. I'm just, but it is a convincing closeted gay man. I'd have to say that. Well, Maron chimed in to tell Elliott that, oh, that was the point of the movie. The veteran actor said it was ruining his image of the cowboy as he was shooting 1883. The myth is that there were these macho men out there with the cattle, Elliott said. It just came from Texas, where hanging out with families, not men, but families. Big, long, extended, multiple generational families. Not men, but families who made their living and their lives were all about being cowboys. And boy, when I fucking saw that movie, I thought, what the fuck, he said. Where's the Western in the Western? There's his criticism. Because at a time when you didn't have, the opportunity to explore your gender expression and all that fucking shit, You were trying to not get killed by the elements. You were trying to survive the winters, especially in fucking Montana, where you set your fucking film. You weren't worried about, you know, trying to fucking slip your ranch hand, the high hard one. You were trying to survive and thrive. He added he was also angry that Cumberbatch's character never seemed to remove his chaps. Every fucking time he would walk in from somewhere, he was never on a horse. He'd walk into the fucking house, storm up to the fucking stairs, go lay on the bed, and his chaps and play the banjo. Elliott, however, did call Champion a brilliant filmmaker and said she just did not agree with her direction in The Power of the Dog. The film is nominated for Best Picture, and Campion is nominated for Best Director. So she's a good director. She doesn't quite get the Western genre. But then again, what does he know? He's only been in like 12 fucking flicks and shows himself. He has valid criticisms. I don't see any of those as being... I could see how you could purposefully, in bad faith, misconstrue his statements as being homophobic. But honestly, it's his opinion. He's a veteran of the genre, a veteran of the industry. He just doesn't buy it as a believable cowboy. It's probably a very believable gay film, whatever. If that's your fucking fling, go for it. But it's like if you're doing a mob movie and Scorsese wants to have his criticisms of it, you take them in stride and you don't try to blow it out of proportion. But I'm sure that's what's going to be happening in the following days. I was going to save this story for the end of the, probably towards the end of the week, but I'd imagine it's probably going to get wild from here, so I just wanted to add my 2 cents before it gets too fucking far out of hand. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.